Hi, this is Ira Gorlick, and this is the second part in the lecture on invisible hand. The idea of trade and market exchange automatically channeling self-interest towards socially desirable ends is a central justification for laissez-faire, free marketers, libertarian economic philosophy. And this also lies behind classical and neoclassical economics. My question back to them, or the supporters of this laissez-faire free market, is, do forces which were just beginning during Smith's life, such as large-scale industry and finance, media, do they reduce the effectiveness of the invisible hand? For me, the central disagreement going on between, let's say, liberals and conservatives, between libertarians and progressives, can be viewed as a disagreement about how powerful the invisible hand is. So let me do just a bit of a summary again about the invisible hand. Free marketers, Austrian schoolers, libertarians, conservatives believe that by aggregating all individual commercial actions, the market will respond rationally. Remember, I had a whole discussion about rational action theory and the thinking that for a market to function optimally, it needs to be rational. This school of thought believes that the market does not need the community to step in to function optimally, that optimum functionally will occur naturally without the community stepping in. And this goes to a whole idea of natural law and how this group of people, the people who believe, the free marketers as I call them, believe that the invisible hand will be all the market needs to function optimally. And in fact, when you read some of their works, they would suggest that the community stepping in will actually make things worse. While I understand this at a 50,000 foot level, I don't see personally how it works at the 1 foot level. Sometimes when I hear this group talk, it's as if no community involvement is ever necessary. And I just disagree with that. I think those that really like the invisible hand like it more because it fits their political worldview than because of any strong economic reasons. But this is something we need to discuss more. So in the discussions, we can certainly have this discussion. And if you think that my perception is wrong, then I'd be more than happy to hear it. So in order for the invisible hand to work, there are many assumptions that must be made for the invisible hand to produce optimal outcomes. First of all, there has to be transparent access to information. Remember, I had a whole discussion about information transparency and information. There also can't be any undue power from, the large corporations, the oligarchies, as we say it, oligopolist corporations, so to speak, to set prices or control distribution, bad actors. We see this maybe in Enron as an example, that in order for the invisible hand to produce optimum outcomes, there can't be any big, powerful, bad actors. And that essentially highly rational buyers and sellers pursuing their self-interest has to be the rule. And again, this is highly rational, which of course we know many people don't act rationally, they act emotionally. Also, in order for the invisible hand to work, the courts have to be efficient and effective. And to that end, it means that everybody is equal in the courts, that if you think about the story of Aaron Brockovich, for example, that PG&E has no more power in the courts than the little guy trying to sue PG&E. Of course, we know that's not true. So the invisible hand implies that the courts are efficient and effective, but I would question whether that is in fact the case. And finally, financial markets, in order for invisible hand to make sense, the financial markets have to be efficient and effective and are not subject to manipulation by bad actors. And of course, we hope that's the case, but my perception is that the financial markets are susceptible to manipulation by bad actors. So what about these bad actors? Improper packaging, cross-contamination, product tampering, all of this can and does happen. Is the only answer caveat emptor or buyer beware? I'm not sure that fits, in a technologically sophisticated community. In the old days, if you're buying sheep or buying fish, you can look and see if the fish or sheep are healthy. But how do I know the computer I buy is what it says it is? So let's use some examples. A libertarian response is to turn to the courts to defend against such abuses. But of course, as I said, that's problematic. Once regulations and enforcement are gone, the courts become the sole avenue, and those with money gain access, and those without can't gain the access. Then there is the problem of provable damage. And if the product kills the purchaser, perhaps months or years later, well, what are we to do? How do we know? How do we go back and prove that? This is the critical flaw, in my opinion, of the libertarian argument. The over-reliance on a fantasy of invisible hands and fantasy ideals that do not work in the real world. That's my opinion. And that's frankly why we don't see a lot, or if any, libertarian governments in existence. So whenever you buy a new loaf of bread without sawdust, dirt, dung, or hay, by the way, that was many of the problems they had at the time of Adam Smith, is that people would put stuff in bread. Be happy for our non-libertarian society, knowing that if someone did do those things or did sell us free market special tires that weren't very good, there is a government regulatory body which will take them to court, who will stand up for your rights. The key is that the community is defending you, not the individual, because the community is the one that could defend against large oligarchies better than an individual. So in the next lecture, I'm going to go into some more examples of the invisible hand and how it actually impacts our society today. Thanks.